Okay, let's do all that again by creating another calculated column and another measure. Our calculated column is going to be called days to ship, and it's going to take the difference between the order date and the ship date by day and put it into the date diff function. And then it's going to get a difference by day between order date and ship date. And you're going to get one value per row. And then our measure is going to be called average days to ship. And it's going to take that days to ship calculated column, this one right here, and it's just going to give us an average for that. And that's going to be our measure. Let's take a look at it in action. So if we go back to Power BI Desktop and we look at Easy DAX built-in formulas, here what you'll notice is you'll see that between order date and ship date, between 7/4 and 7/16, that was 12 days. 7/5 and 7/10, 5 days. 7/8 and 7/12, 4 days, right? And if we look at the table, you'll see there's days to ship right there. So if we go look in the sales orders table and we look at the calculated column, there's the DAX. Now, it's formatted a little bit differently than what you saw in the slide. The slide formatted as one line, and here you're seeing it formatted with the parameters underneath each other. The reason why that is because DAX ignores white space, which is a great thing for formatting because we can create DAX measures and calculated columns that are readable if we just do some like carriage returns with Alt-Enter or tab things over a little bit. It'll make it DAX much easier to read. So that's the calculated column. And like I said, that's going to create one value per row, right? Every value is going to get a unique, every row is going to get a unique value, right? Now over here in this table, you'll see that I'm using, if you click on it, you'll see I'm using year, month, and average days to ship. So I go back up to my measures table, and there's the measure that I promised that you'd see. There's average, right? There's the calculated column, right? And you can see that like in January, my average days to ship were 9.9. In January 2008, it was 9.05. This is pretty long, like, 9 days to ship, but my sample data is shipping bicycles. So, bikes take a long time to assemble and then get out the door, right? Okay, so now that you know those DAX calculated columns and measures, you can use a lot of other kind of built-in functions in your DAX formulas. You can use sum, average, min, max, and so forth. Now, the difference between measures and calculated columns is summarized here on this slide. So a measure does not take up any space because it is calculated on the fly, meaning it is created at the time it is used in the visualization. A calculated column does take up space because it is created when you import the data coming into Power BI, and it creates a value per row, which means it uses the row context. Because the measure is calculated when it's used, it uses something called the filter context. We'll explain that in the next video. Another kind of just general rule to think about is when in the average Power BI project, you might have dozens or even hundreds of measures, but you're not going to have a lot of calculated columns. Calculated columns are typically of 3 or 4, and usually it's done to kind of clean up the data a little bit. Like maybe the data isn't quite in the format that you wanted to make it readable or usable, so you're going to clean it up and create a calculated column. Maybe you'll aggregate 2 columns together, or maybe you'll split one apart, or you'll do some quick math or something to make something easier. But most of the DAX heavy lifting that you'll do will be in measures. And finally, this is how you can get a hold of me if you need to. There's my Twitter and my email address, and of course my YouTube channel if you want to subscribe and get more videos on DAX and Power Apps and data engineering and cloud data and other things that interest me. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks. Have a great day.